Mesdames et messieurs, restez, hein, surtout ne partez pas. On va commencer notre live tweet avec Lars Lindström, qui est le producteur de Sami Blood. Je vous demande de l'accueillir et de l'applaudir. Doesn't work?
It is full. Hello? Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, bonsoir. Welcome to this live Q&A in Beaux-Arts that will start in a few minutes by the end of the générique. Beaux-Arts, which is our great cultural center here in Brussels. This live Q&A with Lars Lindström will happen also in other cities all around Europe. And questions will be projected on screen just behind us. Everybody here also can participate through the hashtag LuxPrize. You see what technology provides us is great. We hope it will work. So we're waiting, no problem. Lars Lindström, thank you to be here. You're a producer from Nordisk Film, which is the biggest label in the Nordic cinema, and the oldest also, you told me, one of the oldest producing company in Europe and in the world, maybe.
Yeah, that's true. My company is called Nordisk Film, and it was founded 111 years ago. Mm-hmm. Even older than me, actually. It's actually the oldest film company in the world. I was told that it's in the same spot outside Copenhagen. Yeah.
Yeah. I have to just take something from the live tweet. So maybe I will ask you a first question before everything starts. My first question goes to you as a producer, of course. How did the Sami Blood movie get made from a production standpoint? It's a first feature film. Mm-hmm. It's a first film also made by a Sami director from a female perspective. I think it all started with the short movies that were brought to Sundance Festival, and finally 3 years after, you could make the long feature film.
Almost true, actually 1 year after. But we Amanda Chernell, the very talented director that you have seen her film here. I met her. She was finishing the Danish film school. She's Swedish, but she went to the Danish film school, and we met. And she had this idea about making a film about her roots. And we said, let's try to do this. And she started writing it. And we developed the script. And then we could very quickly see that it's a prologue and an epilogue. You saw the old Maria as an old woman in the start and in the end. And these two parts, the prologue and epilogue, we put together. And I financed it up to so we could make a complete short film. And it was presented as a short film with the title Northern Great Mountain. And then it was picked up by Sundance, the big American film festival, the big independent film festival. Mm-hmm. And we were in competition there for short film competition. And then it was much easier for me to finance the film. Mm-hmm. We could show, because when you talk about the film, it's just how does a peach taste? You know, you have all these words, you can read a script, but you don't really see how the mise en scène, how it looks, and then they could see that Amanda Chanel is a very talented director. She's very, very skilled and honed already in her first film. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I have a question exactly about the director that Amanda is. How could you tell the abilities that she would have to tell this story finally of a woman who burns her bridges, who tries to emancipate from her cultural boundaries at first? How did you know that she could handle it?
Yeah, this is a very good question for Amanda. But
Amanda is not
no,
here.
you don't understand it really. When you meet someone, there's so many other qualities that you go with. That as a producer, you are looking for good ideas and original ideas, and what could work, what haven't we seen already, what is original. And Amanda was already a skilled director. She made several short films, and you could see she could make it. And Amanda is also Sami.
Half Sami, I think.
Yeah, her father is Sami, and her mother is Swedish. And this is, the topic that the film deals with, it's something that is very alive in the Sami community. And it's something that Amanda grew up with. She grew up with a Sami father and a Swedish mother, I think. Yeah, no, I know she did this, and this to be a part of each. I think this is something that she have an experience of, and she met also. She was in a Swedish school, of course, and but she, as a director, I think she's doing a very good move here by digging where she stands, of trying to figure out something that has been buried in the family for a long time and in the community of Samis. And what is it with this shame and guilt? Why should I feel like this? And in a different scale, of course, for each and every other one. But this is a fiction.
Yeah, so it's one of the questions I have on the Twitter wall. Is the movie based on a real story or not?
No,
How
it's not.
Amanda was inspired by her grandmother or not?
She had parts of this story that is told in Sami Blood belongs to her family. But the most of it is fiction.
Okay.
Yes.
We also have very interesting questions about the casting. I liked Sami Blood. I'm curious about the casting process. The main actress is marvelous. So it is true. And I think Amanda found two real sisters that had to speak this specific South Sami language that only a few people talk in the world. So can you explain to us the process casting? That must have been incredible.
Yeah, it was incredible. It was Amanda actually met all the girls that can speak South Sami.
Oh.
Everyone. And I think it was 50 or 60 maybe, not more. And this language is spoken only by 500 people in the world. And it's a language that is going to be extinct. And the funny thing, Amanda, of course, worked a lot, had workshops with many of these young non-professional actors. She went and worked with them several times. And the thing is that she said several of them were very good. It was not only Lene, Cecilia, and Mia that are sisters for real. It was also a couple of other girls that were really good. But she's fantastic. She's embodying Lene Cecilia Sparok and her sister Mia. They are, I mean, we were so lucky to have them. Because she's really good. Yeah.
We have a question from Eleonora Mazzoli on Twitter. She's wondering how this story is reflecting the current perception of Sami people and their culture. Maybe I should ask the question about how do we figure Sami people now and before, because the film tells a story from the 30s in the 20th century, so almost a century ago.
Yes, many people we have gotten reactions from all over the world about they don't know that there is an indigenous people in Sweden. They didn't know this, and we know this in Sweden. The Swedes know about the Sami people, but we know very little, and this is one of the structural racism actually. And there's many prejudice against the Sami, and that's have been living for a long time. And this is, of course, mainly because of people of education. We don't know. And even in the Swedish school books, they say that the Sami people are living in the north and they are reindeer herders and not much more, actually. So there is an old structural racism, and we met also many of the old Sami people that is acting. Everyone here that is acting Sami is a Sami, and but they have been in these nomad schools themselves, and they had wounds in their hands because they were hit by the teacher, and they could tell horrible stories. And this was in the 30s, in 1930s in Sweden, not long ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How was maybe the reception of the movie in the Sami community now, in this contemporary Sami audience? Did they wanted this film to exist from a long time?
In this question, Amanda usually answers, and when we have been traveling, and she said it's some of the Samis have said that don't lift the lid of this. Let's forget and keep walking. Mm-hmm. But after the big success, because it became a good film dealing with this topic, and now she's embraced by the Sami community, and also the film is embraced by the Sami community, I think. And we have had fantastic screenings with twice as big room with this, only with Sami people. And I went there, I had to be there, and it was amazing to have this reception. Yeah.
We have a lot of questions also about some scenes that were big challenge to shoot, because you have some scenes of humiliation that must have been very hard for a young actress who's a non-professional actress at first. I'm thinking about all these scenes where she's seen like an ethnological object. How did Amanda work on that with this young actress?
Yeah, this is also, of course, Amanda's question. But as all good directors, they will find a way to push the actor as far as it's possible without hurting. And I remember these days when we were shooting it. It was, it was a closed set, and every precautions was taken that this is very sensitive. And when if I remember right, Lene Cecilia Sparrow, that acts like
the protagonist.
Yeah, she said the worst scene she did in the film was actually doing this joik in front of the Swedish people.
So the song. Yeah,
the song, exactly. Yeah, I think I remember right that this was. She was really, no, I don't want to do this. But I think she put her trust in Amanda to do this right, and she did.
Yeah. Another question from Beata Tor on Twitter. I read it for you. Do you agree that the repressive treatment of Sami population by Sweden authorities and society is something that hasn't been sufficiently dealt with in the country?
For sure. Absolutely correct. And after Sami Blood was premiered in Sweden, there was a big discussion. It opened up a big debate again. And it got light on this question, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. But do you think this movie is going to be shown on schools in Sweden, and would be some educational program about it? Are in March?
Yeah, we have it already in motion. So the Swedish Film Institute has already made a teacher compendium and to present it for how to talk to the children about this from the 7th grade when they are 12, 13 years old in Swedish schools. So it's taken out for this. Yeah.
Because I know there's also a Sami Film Institute in Norway. Did it help the movie for locations, for language, for rituals, maybe old rituals that may have been forgotten? In what way this Sami Institute helped you to do the movie?
I think when you make a film, I will answer, yes, they helped us a lot. The International Sami Film Institute, they were bringing us funding. And the most important thing is that we had also like an approval by the Sami community to make this film. And because Amanda is Sami, then she has the right to deal with this topic also. But we were also shooting in Sami areas, and it was special. It was we had to have real representation.
Yeah, it's a story of emancipation, of female emancipation also. I wanted to ask you a question of our times. Do you think this movie about Amanda Colonel is also caught in a global emancipation female directors movement?
I think now that when there is a spotlight on female directors and this film comes out, Amanda is a perfect example of a strong filmmaker. So, and the Swedish Film Institute have had an incentive of funding 50% female film directors and 50% men. So, and it's clicked right into the ambitions of the Swedish Film Institute also. And yeah, it did a lot of good.
Do you think there's a special sensitivity or sensibility from her female gaze, or not?
Yeah, I think in general we need more stories from the female gaze. I think we have been lacking this particular, if there is a gaze, I think it's a good word. Yes. I am very curious of more stories from female film directors. Absolutely.
So even you in this room, you can participate on Twitter through the hashtag LuxPrize. So I have another question for you, Lars. This is a question about the casting process. We've been doing it. Oh yeah, you can have it.
Yeah, you were asking if we shot the prologue and epilogue in one shoot and the rest of the film in one. Exactly, that's how we did. We shot one summer the Elle Maria as an old woman, and the next summer we shot the middle part. Was that your question?
Yeah, and then so you made the short film with the first part. That part you shot for the first summer with the Elle Maria when she's older in the short film. That was in Sundance, and then you shot the rest.
Exactly, and the epilogue, the last pictures in the short film, you see the old Elle Maria as old climbing the mountain, and that's where the film ends. And in the feature, in the long feature, we added this the end when she comes down into the camp and she's looking around. This is the only thing we added actually to the epilogue in the second shoot. Yeah.
There's a quite interesting question about racism against Sami people today. Is it still happening? Is it something that you can still feel in the society?
Prejudice?
Yeah, prejudice, racism against the Sami people, or not?
Yeah, I guess I can't. I'm not a sociologist or an anthropologist or a historian either. But I know there is, of course, animosities and prejudice and racism happening. Yes, we know of stories where landowners in the north are putting up barbed wire in this height of in the woods, so the reindeers get cut in the legs and so on because they are pissed off that they are grazing on their land and so on. So this is happening.
Yeah, because the Sami people are half part in Sweden and also in Norway, but we don't really know, but there was a real colonization on their territory.
Yeah, the Sami people is actually in Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Russia. This we know. There's more, and the colonization. What we know. I am again not an anthropologist, but we know that the Sami people came to colonize themselves about 9,000 years ago. This is what I've learned. And in the Middle Ages, when the national states were built up, they were more and more pushed away up to the north. And in the 1700s, people started to mine and go take down the woods, and then the Sami people were pushed out even more. And then it became more structural, the racism. And Sweden was very famous because we had a racial institute, very old, actually in the 1890, I think it was founded. And we had some of these infamous, you say, one researcher that was from Uppsala, actually from the city that we shot here. And he went a lot up to the north of Sweden and was measuring the skulls and had this.
There's a question about this scene where children are being photographed. That was for racist ethnological research or anthropologism in an old way. Was it hard to shoot this scene?
Yes, it's very sensitive because these are Sami people, and to like, how do you say, interact? No, do it again. Do these movements again, and we actually borrowed the old instruments from Uppsala, from the museum in Uppsala. So it's the real instruments that he used, this man, and it was quite emotional. I think when we did this.
Yeah. So maybe someone can ask a question, and we have some more. About the reaction of Swedish Republic to this movie. Yeah, was it hard to finance finally from Swedish Republic and also government and also from Europe?
Yeah, it's always hard to finance a film, and we need soft money, as we call it. We need institutional money. And in the end, this film was financed by the Swedish Film Institute, by the Danish Film Institute, by the International Sami Film Institute, 2 regional funds in Norway, and Juri Marsh, and a Swedish broadcaster, Swedish television, and the Sami Council, and a little bit of some smaller sums from...
A beautiful question from Felicia. She asks, why did Christina have to apologize in the end?
You mean this scene when she goes to the coffin and lifts the lid of the coffin? Yeah, but if you remember the scene where she has killed the reindeer, and this is a very hard conflict for the 2 sisters. The little sister is so small, so she sides with her mother and walks away. And this is the last time she sees her.
Yeah.
And in a way, they were bonding. They were in school together, and they were growing up together as teens in the film. You can think in the fiction. And in a way, she abandoned her sister in the end when the little sister goes away and she killed, and Ella Maria killed the reindeer. And I think she's apologizing for leaving.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think so too?
There was actually a question on the screen about why did the Sami kids why were they forced to go to the Swedish schools since they weren't allowed to continue? It was just a minimal period.
Yeah, why were the Sami kids forced to go to Swedish school?
Yeah, but this was was an invention by the Swedish state that they made these nomad schools for the Sami children. And they were forced to go there. They couldn't go to Swedish schools. This was the school that they should go to, and they were not allowed to speak Sami. They had to speak Swedish there. And the cruelest thing about it was, like it's portrayed in the film here, that these nomad schools, they were not compatible to the Swedish school system. So you couldn't enter a Swedish school with the grades from the nomad school. And this was the idea of the Swedish state then, was that to protect the Sami. They said it's for your own protection. If you go to the big city, you will disappear and you will get lost. You won't make it there. So they were protecting the Sami, they said, but it was not. It was a prejudice.
Still a question from Trinsag about the reaction of Swedish Republic to this movie.
Again?
About the reaction of Swedish public to this movie.
We had a fantastic reaction. It's still running on the cinemas in Sweden. It's been rolling now for 34 weeks, I think. Mm-hmm. And we have 180,000 admissions up today, and the film has been sold for cinema distribution to 30 countries, and it's everywhere in the whole world on festivals. More than 100 festivals everywhere.
Yeah. And in 4 days, the LuxPrize will be given. Do you think this kind of prize will help to finance some more movies in Sweden?
The LuxPrize is fantastic for a filmmaker. It's a really useful prize that the film gets to new life after more than a year after the premiere, and to get this attention is, of course, it's fantastic. And I think I should take the opportunity to, even if we don't win the LuxPrize, which I hope we do, I would like to thank very much the team behind the LuxPrize. It's been fantastic to be in the envelope of enthusiasm. So wherever, if you're here, I both from me and Amanda, we thank you very much for this fantastic opportunity.
Yes, so we can name them Marisela Rossetti, Guillaume Fay from Lux Film Days. Thank you very much for this opportunity, because these films are shown in the 28 countries all over Europe, so it's really, really great. And it's also part of the European patrimoine, so it's important that we can share it through cinema.
And now I remember that one very big financier that I forgot, that one very important, was the Eurimage. And this is actually an European incentive. So that was really the one that made it so we could really make the film, actually.
There's another question about, a narrative question about Trinsak, who's interested in narrative scenario questions. What happens afterwards to Kristina? Does she go to Uppsala? Does she make studies? Can you tell us more, maybe?
No. This is the beautiful thing with art. You feel it in yourself. We don't know. In Japan, they were asking, when is Sami Blood 2 coming? They were really interested. It's true. This is absolutely true.
What do you think?
It's up to the eyes, to the brains of the beholder. But this is the beautiful thing with art. I think this film now has made so much good you can write encyclopedias about this oppression and this racism and this structural injustice, but 100 minutes of film embodied by a wonderful actress, if it's well made, it tells you you get this emotional knock and you understand it immediately, instead of reading and you agree with something. But here you see a young woman, a young proud woman that is deprived of her rights to go to school, and she has to break up with her family. This injustice, and you can see it so wonderfully portrayed. And this is the beautiful thing with art, I think, that sometimes it can really squeeze teach us something emotional.
Of course. I saw a question passing, very trivial, about was it expensive to burn the Sami uniforms?
No, it's not expensive. It's only we made them, we sewed them. It was a Sami woman making them for us. And no, they're not expensive. It's blue felt cloth. Not very expensive. Yeah. Maybe 10 euros per meter.
Yeah. Can you tell us more about this Christina woman? I mean, the character of Christina when she's old. She's a Sami woman, and you told me that she lives with deers and that she's very specific woman, kind of a diva in the Sami world.
Yeah. No, Doris Rimpi is her name, and she's a fantastic actress. She's wonderful. She lives in a very, very small village, far, far up in the north, and she's got reindeers there. And she's a lovely, lovely woman, fantastic. And we were in, you were thinking of when I told you we were in Venice.
Yeah.
Yes, she came there and she was wonderful. Everybody looked at her and thought she was an old movie star. And she is, because she's got this glow.
But she's not an actress.
She is an actress. She's been working as an actress in the Sami theater.
What about racism nowadays? There's that scene that's quite powerful when she's in the hotel and there are those group of ladies, about the Samis running around with motorcycles. It sounds like quite racist to me.
Yeah, the remarks that these women are doing, that is these typical comments, that why do they disturb us? We came here to have peace in the mountains, and why are they allowed to drive on these four wheels and disturb us on our vacation? This is a typical example, exactly. And I think this is also uneducated. You don't know why are they doing it, because they are doing it because it's their work. They drive to work. As simple as that.
We're reaching to the conclusion of this live Q&A. Lars, thank you very much. We would like to thank you, Lars Lindström from Nordisk Film, producer of Sami Blood, to be here with us. Thank you to the audience, the real audience, and the audience from these 12 countries in Europe that tweeted live. This was the live screening of Sami Blood presented by LuxPrize here in Beaux-Arts. And thank you, and have a beautiful evening.
Thank you. Thank you.